Welcome, everyone, to a special edition of Stepping Up to the Plate. It's championship season here in Milton, and we are here to celebrate yet another champion team from Milton High School. This time it's the Milton High football team. Congratulations to Coach Steve Dembowski and all the boys on the Milton High football team who finished the job. They got it done. They went back to Gillette against all odds. They persevered, and they got it done with a magnificent performance in the Division III Super Bowl. A 42-21 victory over Walpole, Bay State Conference rival, who put a 42-23 loss on them earlier in the year that snapped a 5-0 start for the Wildcats, but they rebounded from that. They rebounded from a three-game losing skid to get into the playoffs, to get their way in, and to get back to Gillette, where they faced their old Bay State Conference nemesis and trailed by 14, but came back. 42 unanswered points. Let me put that to 42 unanswered points they put on the Timberwolves in order to win. And I'm so happy to be joined here on the dais by two of the captains, two of the guys that were central to this. Patrick Miller, quarterback number 2, and Ben Caledonia, linebacker number 9. Gentlemen, congratulations. What a great memory you guys forged that night. And just initially, your thoughts about, being back in the Super Bowl and the outcome and getting the job done.
It was great coming back. We lost last year. It left a really sour taste in our mouths. I couldn't sleep the night of. So the only thing I thought of was kind of get back there. It was a long off season, a lot of workouts, a lot of 7-on-7s. But like you said, we persevered well, to get there and finally win. It was a great feeling.
Yeah, Ben, what about yourself?
I thought it took a tremendous amount of work to get back there. Everyone building a brotherhood, getting workouts in the off season, and even when we got to Gillette, it wasn't, oh, look at the bright lights. It's I've been here before. Yeah. I know what I need to do. I'm not losing again.
Yeah, and how much do you owe to the guys that came before you who took you on that journey and made the unfamiliar familiar at that point,
Yeah, definitely. We wouldn't be there without them. I mean, after the game, I saw Dylan, and I texted Finney. I was like, it's your ring more than it's ours. I think Milton obviously had a good program. We were a winning program, but I think they really made it a championship culture.
Yeah.
Especially even KJ, my captain last year, I looked up to all of them and thought wow, they really led us there. So now I have to do the same to my team, as there are kids looking up to me.
Yeah, it had to be a little bittersweet for them because they knew they were very close, and this could have been back to back.
Definitely.
At some point, but you got it done. And I'm sure they were reveling in your success too, because as you mentioned, part of that is owed to them.
Definitely.
And it's nice that you tip your cap to those guys for doing what they did. But, the thing that I'm curious, it's such a tough endeavor, man. And you start out the season 5-0, Patrick, and then you go into that swoon. What was the thought about this team at that point? You're 5-3 and looking at the playoffs now.
Yeah, it wasn't fun losing 3 straight, but as you know, we turned it around, and I knew against Minichog we definitely would have had them, and I think that really set the tone in the playoffs. We were averaging about 30 a game, and we weren't really playing our football in the month of October, so kind of flipping that switch was definitely necessary, and I think we had a lot of momentum.
Yeah, and there were some great defensive performances too. I mean, you guys really did the number on Dartmouth, a team that came in undefeated. There was a lot of hype about them, but you guys made them look ordinary. Ben, what was your thought about the way the team was progressing at that point?
I thought that we needed it. Practices weren't the best. I feel like our egos got a little too high because, we only lost 1 game last year, and then we come out 5-0, beating a really good Needham team. And I felt like the losses, we didn't play our best, and I feel like they really helped us get our minds right for the playoffs and move forward from those 3 losses.
It was extraordinary in the game and watching how it unfolded. You guys go down 14-0, and I'm sure people in Walpole are going, okay, we got these guys. But what in your mind, and I'll ask you the same, kind of turned it around? Was there a specific play, do you think, that kind of boom, got you guys going?
No, I think we knew we had a good run game going. The first 2 drives, 3 and out. We didn't really have, we didn't have the opportunity. I remember we got a 5-yard gain. And then the second play of offense, we had a -6, which was kind of tough.
Yeah.
So we forced to pass it, and I remember going down 14-0, and I told one of my guys, I was like, we need one here. So Nathan gets a couple good games, some nice cutbacks, and I think we had some first downs going. We we were finally playing Milton football.
Yeah, that was clear. And then I think, Ben, did you not recover that first kickoff, the fumble that they had? That Ben, I think, or was that Ben?
Ben Parmalee.
Okay, Ben.
Yeah.
But I think you were credited on TV.
Yeah. They messed us up a lot.
Right. But that's true because you wore number 11 last year, right? Okay. But in terms of just the transcendent performances that you guys had, Ronan Salmon coming up big, for you guys. Will Renz making that, elevating for that first touchdown catch. And then, you had Ronan to tie it for you guys. And Harrison Hinkle, unbelievable what he did too, the pick six, I think you double them up and now you guys are rolling.
Yeah.
So you go into the half up 28-14 and I remember saying to myself, job's not done. Job's not done.
Absolutely.
Was that the mindset?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I was telling the guys it's not finished. Like obviously knowing that like we're getting the ball at half too kind of leads you to think like it's even over, but we didn't score on that opening drive in the second half. So we just had to keep our heads down and we knew it wasn't finished.
Yeah. Defensively, you guys seem to pin your ears back and come right after.
Yeah, we were really locked in because what happened last time was embarrassing for our defense. So I just told the guys, like, this team scored 42 points on us. Don't take them for granted. They're a very good team. So we really need to be focused for these last 2 quarters.
Yeah, and you could not have those breakdowns that you had in the first quarter, where you're turning those receivers loose like that because they could hurt you guys. But they weren't heard from the remainder of the game, it seemed like.
Wow.
Yeah, unbelievable performance. And you guys had record-setting performances too. Patrick, congratulations. You surpassed Owen McHugh, your predecessor, 33 touchdowns, a program record.
Thank you.
Nathan Huey, 1,000-yard rusher. He showed up big time in the second half.
Definitely.
And of course, Ronan Salmon. I mean, it was interesting to me. I was thinking about it. The brothers, the lineage of brothers on this team that probably owe their experience to their older brothers. Colin Donovan, and Luke and Ronan Salmon, Mike Fulton and his brother,
Andrew and Owen.
Yeah. And so that's unbelievable how all of that, and you kind of spoke to the brotherhood, you guys kind of linked it, kind of tapped into that, didn't you?
I mean, like, we've been all friends since middle school. We've all been playing football, most of us, since middle school. And I feel like we just have a bond outside of football, which really helped us on the playing field because I could trust every single person on my team to make a play when they need to.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your coach, Steve Dembowski, and the staff, that he assembled, and how integral will, they be, or how integral were they in this endeavor, but going forward too,
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously a great coaching staff. Obviously, Coach Emma is one of the best coaches in the state. And I think, especially during the Walpole week, after coming off a bitter loss against Braintree, everyone kind of settled in. We had countless hours of film on them. I mean, the coaches really stepped up, and we really appreciate that. And, they just made it easy for us.
Yeah.
I feel like they're great. I mean, they're prepared. They put a lot of work in, and they really prepare us and push us to be the best.
Yeah, all of those guys, didn't they? Yeah, it's fabulous. And, here you are now. You're champions. You're getting to enjoy the spoils. We've got a big parade coming up on Sunday. Programming note, make sure you get out there. It's going to be 3 o'clock. It's going to start at Gile Road, but you can just step out front, or on the parade route and cheer on these guys as they come by. And there'll be, I think, a little presentation at the end. Is it going to be in the auditorium or Copeland?
Yeah,
in the auditorium. In the auditorium. So make sure you get out there for that on Sunday, December 10th. It's going to be the rolling rally here in Milton. I was advocating for duck boats, but I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. But it's how we do it here in Boston, right?
Yeah.
So, but so many great memories that you guys forged. And I'll ask you this: what, in your mind, will be the lasting snapshot, the thing that you will look back upon when you get older, and you think and will make you smile about what you accomplished?
On one of the broadcasts, there's kind of like a sideline edit or a cut of it, and it was after Luke Hartford's touchdown with like 2 minutes and like 40 seconds remaining. And I just remember going down the sideline and giving all the coaches a hug because like that's really when it really set in, like, we did it, we won.
Yeah.
So it's like knowing all those coaches for so long, like these past few years, it's been great. To end it with a hug, you don't always hug your coach during the game.
Yeah.
So to be able to do that, it just felt good.
Yeah. How about you, Ben?
Mine's probably getting injured and, slowly walking off the field and looking up in the stands and seeing like my whole family who came out to support me, all my friends, and just really like capturing that image of like a whole community supporting what I'm doing.
Absolutely, and that's what a great image, what a great lasting image for you guys. And you gave all of us so much pride, so much to be happy about, and what a wonderful achievement to have won a Division III Super Bowl against your nemesis, the Walpole Timberwolves, in just convincing fashion. There was nothing fluky about that win. It was decisive, and that's what was, I think, most enjoyable for everyone who got to watch it and who have gotten to see these guys play through the years, and well-deserved accolades. And to them, I say, congratulations, gentlemen. Well done. Job well done.
Thank you.
All righty. We'll be right back with Coach Steve Dembowski, the architect of this magnificent season, and our main man, Al Prizzuti, on the dais. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We had a nice chat with some of the captains of the Milton High football team, and I'm joined now on the dais by none other than the architect of this incredible season, Coach Steve Dembowski. Steve, congratulations, and thank you very much. I'm also joined by my main man, Al Prizzuti, and we just want to extend our hand and congratulate you. Thank you for being here, always a friend of the show. And what a great thing, Steve, having witnessed the climb that you guys made a year ago, and then the way you guys handled that was exemplary, I thought. And then of course the way you guys came back and won it, they left no doubt about that outcome. Unbelievable performance, 42 consecutive points. What an answer! What an answer! Yeah. But congratulations, Steve, and it had to have been gratifying to have been there, but you look at the guys that you had before who made that journey, and as I said to the guys, and a lot of them did credit those kids who were there. In fact, a lot of them were there.
Yeah.
But they were to be commended because they showed the way for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, it was a mission 9 years in the making. The community has been supportive since the day I got here. We had the 2 youth programs, many people don't remember, that merged to create one unified youth program. We've had, teams that were 1 game away in 15 and 18 and 19. And then last year, obviously, getting there and not playing our best. And I think that all those things led into, once we got there, we knew what, these kids knew what to expect. And I think we were fortunate, too, that we had an opponent that we were familiar with. So we could really look at what we'd done well and what we hadn't done well against Walpole and formulate a game plan that we thought would be successful.
Yeah. Alan, you want to?
Well, having Walpole beat you during the season now, looking at how they did it, probably was a big help for you in terms of what do you need to do now to prevent that. They're a good offensive team, but you guys are as well. I think the defense, when I watched the game and I saw the first 14 points, I mean, they scored them pretty quickly. I mean, that was, I think, maybe on 2 or 3 possessions they scored.
Well, we roughed the punter at the 50-yard line.
Right,
They got a
right.
first down to 35, and they hit their top receiver with that.
Field position was terrific for them.
They hit an explosive play that we were trying to take away, and then they got the 2-yard touchdown run, and then we don't get a first down, but we pin them deep, and they hit us with a post-cross combination that our safety dove down on the cross, and they hit it over the top, and that was something we were trying to prevent. And it was like, oh God, we worked on this all week, but we stuck to our plan. And to the players' credit, and Coach Jarbo called a great game on defense. Our plan was to do what was successful against them, which was on offense to run the ball out of a 2-by-2 set. Let Nathan work it behind our offensive line, which was all senior base guys. Let Patrick make decisions on when to run and throw, to get Ronan and Luke Haley involved on the perimeter when the outside linebackers came in. We thought we had a good matchup on their safeties, and that worked. Ben Parmalee strip sack that Ben Caledonia recovered gave us a short field to set up Renz's touchdown. And then we had another great stop, and Patrick threw one of his best passes of the day on time on an outcut to Ronan Salmon, and he takes that in for 24 yards.
Yeah. See,
Huge.
just what you're saying there, though, I mean, all of these things, I think, play into it really well. But 2 great quarterbacks, 2, I should say, proficient quarterbacks who threw for 30, whatever it was,
Right.
1 and 2, they couldn't prevent your quarterback from playing this game. You stopped Walpole's quarterback from playing his game. And that was a key for me. I mean, just watching it, I think. So, coaching and great players is what made, I think, your team state champs.
There it is right there.
Wow.
The Gaddis Trophy.
Wow. We're going to have to renegotiate the contract, I guess, right?
No, it's a combination.
Well, it's
it's
true.
always a
They're both- I
combination,
mean-
Dem.
Well,
I mean,
thank
you had great players, and then being there last year, and then going back is a big plus. Because you weren't overwhelmed by being in Gillette and playing.
Yeah.
It's 2 years in a row, and so everybody's going, well, this guy got us there last year, and you knew you had terrific players this year, and when you put that combination together with a good defense and a proficient offense. My money was on you.
Oh, thank God.
Well, to compare and contrast the experiences, though, a year ago you had a group of guys that came in, arguably the best set of receivers you admittedly had, with
Well, they were all experienced.
all experience. That was a big thing. Mike Fulton, Shane Olson, Dylan McKenzie, and Luke Salmon. A quarterback who hadn't been a starter but had been in the program. Dynamic offensive player, never left the field, Jack Finnegan. You had some great leaders up front, Drew Kokoris and, of course, KJ Beckett. all those guys, and they had been in the program since the youth days together.
Right.
If you could compare and contrast, though, that journey versus the one that this team took to get to the Super Bowl.
It's hard to, it's like comparing children. I think, comparing your teams, but that team, Owen and Jack were very much the guys that produced. I mean, they did everything from the scoring to the kicking and the punting. Now, the defense was good last year, but this group of kids were looking to kind of establish their own identity. We only returned 3 offensive starters on this team and 5 on defense. Amazing. So there were so many more kids looking to contribute, and they kept rising to the challenge. We kept talking about playing to our standard earlier in the year, and we came out of the gate flying. In special teams, defense, efficient offense. We ran the offense a little bit more run-based with RPOs, which is a run-pass option where Patrick gets to make a decision based off of a defender. And that was really good for us earlier in the year and helped us develop Patrick's experience and to get Luke Hartford rolling and Nathan Huey going and to control the games. The Situate win on the road 42-14 to open the season was like, wow, we could be pretty good. And then what really impressed me was the way we handled Framingham in week 2, who the year before, they were a dumpster fire of a program. We went there, played a sloppy game, beat them 47-6. And I was like, wow, we didn't really handle that professionally. This year, we beat them 49-0. They didn't turn it over once. They didn't fumble the ball. Like they looked like a real team. They actually went 6-5 and beat Natick on Thanksgiving Day. Unbelievable. And we completely dismantled them. And I said to the coaching staff at that point, I'm like, we have the kind of team where we can be good in all 3 phases. And these are the kind of teams that win state championships. And they were looking at me like, are you kidding me? Right now our kicker, Aiden Rowley, is our MVP. At that point, the kid was, hitting all his extra points and killing people with punting and field position on kickoffs. But the team grew, and then we experienced the setback at Walpole. Didn't play well, didn't coach well at Walpole, at Taunton. Penalties really hurt us in the Taunton game, and then penalties really hurt us in the Natick game, plus 1 turnover. We had a really good game against Natick. We just didn't get enough points in the red zone.
How much did that help you, though? You started the season, kind of interesting in a way, because you started the season, first 3 games, you're scoring 40 points, and you're only giving up 8 to 10, 12, 14 points. So, the difference between the offense and the defense was pretty amazing. And then you lose 3 games. And how does that affect you? How does it affect the team? I would think it motivates you to say, hey, you tell me what you think.
Again, we're always looking at it, how do we solve our own problems? Right. And one of the the way the tournament works now is you have to play good teams to get in.
Right.
If you're like Everett went 7-1, played 2 good programs, played the GBL, doesn't get enough points, they don't even get in the 16 playoff. So, by playing the Situates, the Hollistons, Taunton, Natick, it really exposes to where you're weak.
Right.
So at that point, again, we're plugging different kids in, like Zach Stowell, for example, a former safety receiver, was playing offensive line and outside linebacker. Well, Zach was great against the run and better at rushing the passer. But Ben Parmalee, as the same position, was great against the pass and better in the open field. Mm-hmm. And we're finding these things out, we're using these kids. Mark Michalski comes back from illness, he steps in at right tackle, allows Moody to play one way. Andrew Miskell has to play against Natick because AJ Cicerone is out with an illness, and he was amazing. We couldn't take him off the field, and he was a huge part of our defense in the last 5 games. And there were kids like that all over the program. I mentioned Val Calici, who was a lineman that we couldn't really find a role for. I'm like, all right, let's put a tight end number on you, and you'll come in and provide us that look so we can give a defense something else, have an extra gap in the run game when we need to pound the ball. So Val was big. Colin Donovan became a tight end when we went 2 tight ends. He had a huge block on Hartford's touchdown, the final touchdown of the Super Bowl. And again, the development of kids within the program. So you find out your weaknesses, and then you attack them, and then you try to put the kids in positions that they can utilize their skill set, and then they have to. And I think what this team did too is and it's a good example with Zach and Ben, was that if we played an open team, Ben was going to play more. If we played someone who was going to pound it, on like Thanksgiving Day with Braintree, it was more Zach.
Yeah.
And then even against Walpole, when Zach wasn't going to play a lot of outside linebacker, we said, hey, we're going to teach you how to play defensive end, and you'll rush the passer on passing downs. And he says, sure. He did, and Zach was one of many that did whatever was best for the team without any thought of themselves. And I think,
and you had a team of those guys.
And we had, and again, and I could mention more, Luke Haley,
But that again is recognizing. You got to recognize strengths and maximizing strengths and minimizing weaknesses, and that's what you guys did terrifically. I think all season long.
Thank you.
And it seemed like Dembo that you saved your best for last. That game against Walpole is where everything seemed to come together. Where you had these guys step up, and everyone was doing something, defensively, offensively. You didn't have any mistakes, it seemed like, at that point. There may have been, but they covered them up.
We had the 2 early ones, which led to 2 touchdowns.
I mean, from that point on, in that 42-point run, you were forcing them to make the mistakes, and you were capitalizing. Harrison Hinkle with the pick 6, which was huge.
And we executed the game plan really well. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we had 3 mistakes early in the game. We had the roughing the punter, then we gave up a big corner ball down to the 2, which we should have had a bracket coverage on. We didn't have it. And then we gave up the post down the middle for the 68-yard touchdown, which was a mistake. Other than that, the only other mistake was me calling a fake screen and go on first down at the 25-yard line in the 3rd period that Patrick put up for grabs that got intercepted. So at that point, we had control of the game. I probably should have just kept handing the ball off, but
Nathan.
They were jumping the outcut on the RPO, and I wanted to kind of back them off by running an out and up, and we didn't execute it well, and that was our only offensive real mistake in the game. And the defense got the ball back, and and then we drove down, and again we were working the clock at that point. And Patrick executed on 3rd down. I mean, that was that was big in the game, and we were 3 for 6 on 4th down, including Harry's touchdown to make it 35-14. And
that was an unbelievable catch on his part too.
Well, yeah, and we talk about those deep balls being underthrown because we feel like that's an advantage for a receiver. And I know that Harry was quoted somewhere saying, "Yeah, the ball was underthrown. I knew I could get it," and he didn't see it. So.
Well, you had some transcendent performances in that game. Rushing, Nathan Ahuey had 29 carries for 135 yards to go over 1,000 yards for the season.
He's a pretty quick kid.
Yeah, and then in receiving, you had Ronan Salmon with 6 catches, 75, and 2 big touchdowns to put him over 1,000 yards for the season.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you had Patrick Miller, who went 16 of 26, the 1 pick, 148, and 4 touchdown passes to give him the program record that was set the year before by Owen McHugh. And when you look at that, Dembo, how much pride do you kind of derive from, seeing these guys succeed on the biggest stage?
I mean, everything you do is for the kids to get a great experience, and hopefully, winning is the experience. And the statistics really don't mean much. I mean, we don't want to turn the ball over. We want to be efficient in the run game. We want to stop the run on defense and all those things. But they executed the game plan very well. And I got to thank Mike Fallon, who came in and threw 7-on-7 and team periods for us in practice.
Wow.
Because we didn't have a guy who could replicate Noah McKenzie's arm, and I think that really helped our DBs. Awesome. And Dan Jarbo, Tom Phelan with the defensive game plan, the whole staff. I mean, it's been a challenging year, and obviously they all stepped up at different points, and we developed different kids, and so many players contributed. I mean, even like Ryan Fulton, who basically turned into just being the holder as a junior, who would play in a lot of other programs. You know, he was money for us. And Aiden Rowley kicking the extra points and the field goals throughout the season. You know, he was a big part of the team. Like, all these kids contributed in different areas, and I think that's when you get that kind of buy-in and you get kids that are working till the end to improve. I think the major difference between this year and last year was these kids were really still pushing to get, we were getting better through the tournament. You know, we were familiar with Minnetonka and we beat them good. We were familiar with Dartmouth and we beat them pretty good. You know, Westfield we weren't familiar with, but we knew you got to stop the run, and we did a pretty good job of that. And the offense got the lead and changed the way that the game was played. And obviously with Walpole, not only are we familiar with them, but we had the advantage of already having played them and seeing where they attacked us and how we could attack them. So it's a credit to these kids and their parents and the community for helping us build the program.
The coach, the staff.
The whole staff.
So
the whole
with
staff.
time's running out. Now,
Well,
let me
I
ask you
wanted to
one
ask
quick
you-
question. 2 years we'll have this, 2 years from now we'll be still 2 years now, state champions this year, next year. You can keep it in your house. What do you
Right?
kidding me?
Well, we'll see. You know, you got to give it back.
My last question for you, Dembo, in summation, when you look back upon this experience, what will be that lasting snapshot for you that you'll treasure, you'll cherish?
I mean, for me to share it with my family on the field, obviously not a great year for us with my wife, you know, being injured in like a freak gallstone procedure and the stuff that we've had to go through. But both of my girls being able to be there, the MIA cooperating and letting them, Kristen be in the press box and then getting her down to the field, that was really big for me. But it's always when you know, to see the joy on the faces of the kids, their families, our former players, our alumni. I mean, over 400 messages piling in through email and text. I mean, that's why you do this stuff. You know, you're helping kids create experiences that will help them the rest of their lives, maybe catapult them into a better school, give them more confidence. And it's good for the town here. We have a lot of great athletes. Kids are looking to leave all the time. People are always coming to pluck our kids. You don't have to go anywhere. We have good sports. We have great educational resources. We have kids going to Ivy League and NASCAC schools. You can do very well out of Milton. You don't have to leave. You can stay here and excel.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we're glad that you're here and that you continue to take our calls. But congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you.
Way to
Appreciate
go,
it.
Steve. And congratulations to the entire Milton High football team for a job well done this year in winning the Division III state championship by the score of 42-21, doubling up Walpole in tremendous fashion. And what a year it was. And I say that let's do it again next year. All righty, everybody. We'll see you next time here on Stepping Up to the Plate.